Welcome to the Mindful Man Project, where we discuss issues, wins, losses, and learnings of men today. We leave no stone unturned, no avenue unexplored. For the time is now for men across the globe to take stock, to know who they are, to stand in their power, to guide those men coming behind us into the future. Creating a world that our children and our children's children will thrive and flourish, as we have done the work before them. I'm your host, Tyson Venables. Welcome. On today's episode, I have Jordan Potts, aka the Conscious Carnivore. He's coming on today. We're going to have a bit of a chat about his new program that he's rolling out for his dads in his collective, or anybody who's listening. Jordan is an absolute wealth of knowledge, and I always love chatting with Jordan. We've been mates now for quite some time and really look to push each other. So without further ado, welcome, mate. Welcome, Jordan. Welcome to the podcast. Stoked to have you here today. How's things going?
Always a pleasure, mate. I'm blessed to be sitting here. Any conversation with you is a blessing. So I'm excited to see where it leads.
Me too, man. Me too. Without chewing the fat too much more, I want to get into it. Dads, we're both dads. Everybody's listening. That Jordan is the conscious carnivore, but he's a conscious father. He's choosing a life that he wants to live and be showing up for his young son and potential other children along the way. And it's admirable in its entirety, and to be able to be a part of it in a way as a mate, as a friend, it's awesome. And just even seeing, like, from afar, before I got to know you, with how you ran your business, and you had the bricks and mortar business, the gym, and how you that evolved into what it was and before you sold it. Where along the way did you feel that, like, where you are now was where you were heading, or were you always going to be like in the gym? Was that something that you and Nick had always thought, that bricks and mortar was going to be the way?
It's a good question. It's a great question. And no, it wasn't always going to look like this. Not we, because Nick was following my dream. I had the vision that Exalto was going to change the world. I literally was visualizing, and I had thoughts about how this education system that we'd build around health and wellness and fitness, strength, mobility, breath work, meditation, all this stuff, how it would mold itself into an education system that treated the whole family, provided kids the knowledge that they needed when they're young to have tools to move through life, and then gave adults the opportunity to relearn techniques that they can use in their lives from day to day. And along the journey, things changed. Things definitely changed. And I loved that model. I loved the community aspect, and it gave me a name on the Sunshine Coast. It made me known for what I was interested in and what I was passionate about and skillful in. But as soon as Nick fell pregnant with Indy, things started to shift. I took 4 months off the business when he was born, and just decided it was a risky call to be basically disconnected from the business. We had a team on, and there was something within me that was like, if you have the opportunity to be there as a father in the first few months, that is one of the best investments you'll ever do for your family. And so we actioned that, and it was a tough gig, delegating and setting up a team and trusting them and letting go of the reins. But honestly, it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in my entire life, is being there for my partner, being able to assist, helping her, emotional support, stability, doing jobs around the house, spending time with your newborn son, and building this connection without having to go to work. And that was a big call for us to start this way of parenting, and parenting in a way that feels best for us. is being there for our kids as much as we can in the first 10 years of their life. We understand that they'll get to an age where they probably get their own friends and want to go hang out, whatever. But I think in this developing phase or developmental stages of their lives, if you can literally be there 80-90% of the time, what does that look for in a child's confidence and emotional stability and attachment and all of these powerful elements to, you know, psychosocial relationships and psychology and their, you know, emotional development? I think it's a really big move. So while it's not the traditional route, it's paid off. You know, I think it's, first of all, it opened us up to thinking differently about how we want to parent. And then secondly, I got a taste of being around more. I got a taste of being a father who's there every day, most of the day. You know, we still do jobs here and there and we still prioritize going to the gym and whatever, but I got a taste of, okay, there's opportunity for me to be here as a father. And I credit my dad for doing what he needed to do to support the family, but he worked a lot and we basically only saw him at night for dinner, and then on the weekends we'd see him. And all I ever wanted as a young boy was to be his best friend. He was my best mate. I remember him being my best, and I looked up to him, and all I wanted to do was spend time with dad. And he couldn't. He had responsibilities, and he didn't have the awareness, and obviously the world was a bit different, so the focus was a bit different back then. But I learned from that. I take the responsibility on that. My son looks up to myself and his mother like his best friends and his heroes until he's in his position to have, you know, critical thinking and can make his own decisions. So that was the investment we made, and now we've designed the life so that, you know, we've sold the brick and mortar business, the gym, decided to part ways for the community and focus all online so that, you know, I can work differently. And yeah, man, we're 2 years in and life is very different. Life is very different.
That's good. It's such a interesting one to go through. Like me coming from because I've been a PT for 20 years, but I've also had the carpentry running alongside it, just always kind of one propping the other up at some point in time. And yeah, it's not as until you have the kid and it makes you realize, it gives you kind of that reality check on what's more important. And for me, coming from that trade background, could be tradies and stuff listening, and then I always, it's always easy just to say that you can go and work online and blah 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 when the country's got to be built and stuff like that. And it's an interesting one that I've been sitting with even recently, like even reflecting on like people who are in that position of like wanting to be around their kids and stuff, but do have a vocation where it might be more hands-on. It might be more like tradie work and stuff like that. Like what you said there with your dad, like my old man's a builder, and he's been a builder he left school when he was 14 and he's 63, and he's been building ever since. And the same thing, we knew him on the weekends and at footy training. And that was about when he'd come to Tuesdays and Thursday night footy training. He was my coach. And that was the time that we kind of got to have a time with him. Otherwise, most nights we'd probably miss him because he'd get home from work before we were in bed. It's the same thing. He just wanted that mate. And like I see, it's kind of with our family as well, we're following that same kind of road. And I go down the road of homeschooling and stuff with our kids and doing that, depending on how many kids we have, obviously, because like could be a homeschooling dad for bloody next 20 years if we have 4 kids or whatever. But it's you know, I kind of what I'm wanting to ask and pull out of you is, do you think like the industry that you work in, like we both work in, makes it a little easier? Or do you think like in an advice for other people who could be sitting outside of the wellness industry that might actually be looking to have this opportunity to kind of find a way out? Like what would you, think? What was your advice for them?
Look, I empathize with trades. I empathize with the mindset that is encouraged and the conditioning that goes on within those trades. It's not a very expansive line of work. I find in the health and wellness industry with PTs that you're more likely to be talking about mindset and habits and things. So it naturally comes through as a personal development kind of line of work. Whereas with building and trades, it's kind of like just get the job done, and this is how we've done it, and this is how we'll always do it. There's not a lot of that expansive thinking. But for anyone in a trade, I just encourage them to take the best of the best out of personal development and apply it to where they're at. So if we think about online business, it's literally providing value over and above so that someone who wants that value is willing to exchange money for it. So I think about a builder straight away, mate, all you've got to do is you've got to get on and provide value. All you got to do, you got to get online, film shorts around, tips and tricks that you've learned in the building trade to save time, tips and tricks that you've learned to save money, and tips and tricks maybe to improve quality. There's 3 big pillars that builders will want to know. How do I save time? How do I save money? And how do I make my jobs better? So I can charge a higher rate or I get a better reputation. There's a 3-frame pillar. If you just put forward your value around what you've learned and put it into videos and start posting on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or any of these platforms, if you just attack it, it may take you 2 years, but you can do it while you're already working. In 2 years, you'll have a follower, you might have 1,000 followers. That's all you need to be making 50 grand a month. All you need is 10 good quality clients and you can be making 30 to 50 grand a month. So and I guess that whole one of the frame of minds that keeps people from getting into the online space is, I don't have heaps of followers, how got to build up their account. I know people that have 600, 700 followers. That's very minimal, and they're doing $50,000, $60,000 months. So all you've got to do is take the information and your life experience and put it into a form that someone can digest and receive, and they'll be willing to pay you for the fast track method to get that result. And so for a builder, there is so many epic channels where they're giving tips and tricks and this and that. But don't let that stop you. The reason people work with you is not because of the tips and tricks, it's because of who you are and they resonate with you and your personality. I'll use an example. In the health and wellness space, there's guys who act like pricks who say, you fat fuck, you got to fucking pull your socks up and get your shit together. Let's fucking strip that weight off you. You guys have probably seen those ads. If you're in Australia, you know the guy I'm talking about. He's always aggressive and he's in your face and he's calling dudes out. Or you can go the other route and be like, hey lads, I know you're probably struggling. I've got some tools and tricks that'll really make life easier and it's going to help you get fitter and healthier in the same way. There's two different personalities. One guy is going to go, fuck, I really need to work with that hard ass because that's who he's attracted to work with. And the other guy's like, no, I like this guy's approach. So all you need to do in the online space is just turn up as yourself and just provide value. And as soon as you start doing that, you'll start attracting people. You never know where they'll come from. I've got followers in countries that I don't even really know, like Middle Eastern countries, and they're starting to apply the carnivore diet. It's so funny where you just connect, because we are in the information era. We're in this massive data era where we're just connected to the whole world. And all you need to do is focus on value and over deliver value, and people will ask to work with you. And then it's that simple. So I think any trade, any industry, whatever it is, tech, building, even consulting, communication. Fuck, I even know a profile where a guy makes bank just telling dudes how to talk to chicks. He literally it's called social interaction mentoring or something, and he literally just sells courses of telling guys how to be more confident. Like, he could have been a builder. If you're a builder out there and you're gun at picking up ladies, not that I'm in that phase, but you could literally monetize that. You could do it in the art of communication. If you're a builder and you have exceptional communication skills within conflict or within meetings or within making sales, you can monetize those skills that you naturally have as your persona and put it into a course or put free value out there. And I guarantee 1 out of 50 people will be like, hey mate, I really like your work. I'd love to learn more about it. Can you help me improve XYZ? Bang, you've just escaped the rat race. And the goal being that you no longer work for an hourly rate or a job rate. You now have value that can be purchased while you're sleeping. So you exit the rat race to the bottom and you start climbing the ladder to freedom. That's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it goes for any industry. It's like any person who's working who might feel like they're chained to a desk, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to 7. It's like it works the same way. There's extra little hours that you can do that are going to end up developing something. If you in your job that you're streamlining a system that works well for your office, you could sell that to someone and someone will buy that because there's other people who are in your boat who are wanting to streamline their stuff that has been done before. And yeah, once you start to realize that, and that's what a lot of the people when I work with them is like, I get them to write down their skills and their skill set, like, or their acquired set of skills that they've had over an immense amount of time. I always come back to that, like that Taken scene in that movie when Liam Neeson's like, I have acquired a set of skills over an immense amount of time. Everybody has that. I've cleaned toilets for a living. I've been a housekeeper. I've done daycare teaching. And once you then do daycare teaching and you pull out all the skills that you have there, or then you've done this and you pull out all the skills that you learned there. Once you learn and realize all these skill set that you have, they can all be developed into some sort of program that people are going to end up using. And especially if you're a specialist or you've gone to university and you've done you don't even have to go to university, but it's like if you're in a job where you're actually making quite a decent amount of money, it's quite easy to leverage what you're doing right now and create a profile from that and move into a field or move into a way of life that you actually want to live on your terms. That's for sure.
Definitely. And the difference is taking fucking action. There is something popped into my mind. There's a young kid that I just got served an ad. I don't know why. I must have said mowing or something in a conversation. iPhone's listening to me. But this guy he's putting money into ads. I clicked on his because he was young. He was like 19 or 18 maybe. And I was like, what's this guy? He's talking about mowing. I clicked on his page on Instagram and he's got like 200 followers. And all he's doing is he does a business with his dad. They do garden renos. So they do like retaining walls and, rocks and paving and whatever. He just rocks up on site and goes, hey guys, this is a job we're doing today. Just wanted to show you how we're going to do it. And then he filmed like some little sections of it being improved kind of before and after. And then at the end of the video, he had a call to action. He was like, guys, if you're struggling, he's like, we just started this business 4 months ago and we're booked out on our books just because we have a quality personality and we over deliver in our result. If you'd like to learn how to start a business, I'm only 18. I'll show you how to do it. So he's already helping. He's providing value to these young guys scrolling Instagram going like, fuck, I don't really want to work for $20 an hour at Woolies or whatever. He's like, oh, I could start a service-based business. Here's this guy who's one step ahead. You don't have to be the millionaire. You don't have to be the guru. You have to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of someone because that feels closer to their frame of reference. You don't want to work with a guy who costs, $100,000 or $500,000 for a program. If you're like at the base, it's scary. It's so far out of your world, but you'll work with someone for $1,000. You'll work for someone for maybe $10,000. So you've got to kind of think about that frame of reference of like, where am I at? And who's 2 steps behind me? Who could I help that's 2 steps behind me? And how could I help them? There's your opportunity. And you have value to provide. It's like a little brother mentality or the master and apprentice. Someone's always watching you and they're a little bit behind. They want to skip to where you are. And there's your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when you realize it. When you realize that there are other people who are walking your walk, but they're not there with you yet. And it's like, come on, I'll pull you this way. Let's come with me. I'll teach you. I'll teach you what I've learned. And it becomes a fulfilling kind of role that you're doing in that thing, because then you're actually helping people that you're actually enjoying what you're doing. I think that the difficulty comes then, I guess, when there is like someone who is in a job, kind of spending most of their time at work in a job that they don't like. And then that's the point when we start to try and work out how the hell we're going to make that exit strategy. But it's, again, it comes down to, like I said, action, like sitting down, writing down those skills. And it's like anything, like with fitness, like if you're inactive, you're not eating right, you're eating like shit, you're not exercising, the vehicle's not going to take you to the place that you really want to be. And it kind of leads me into the next question, next part of the chat I want to talk to you about is like, you at the moment is putting together a program that is actually really helping people and their vehicle travel in the right direction with some really top-notch fuel. And what is it that you've put together that you're helping the people, the men in our society?
Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about this. It's literally, for me, things click, and it feels like you were put on this earth to do things. And I've had certain phases of this in different businesses, and it's an impact, and it's an active change, and it comes from the heart, and it really helps drive life-changing results into people's experiences, and it boosts their quality of life. They're the things that really mean something. That's a meaningful way of doing business. It really helps someone. And I've realized over the last 2 years, becoming a dad, that things change. You can preempt the changes, and you get told, and you get warned, and you kind of get these like little slurs from people like, oh yeah, don't like, watch your sleep and whatever, it's going to be harder, and dad bod and whatever. But when you're actually in the experience, you've got to adapt. You've got to learn how to operate differently, and you've got to manage all of these different energies. But so often I see, and unfortunately, that the statistics would prove, or do prove, that majority of dads struggle with their health. They get lazy. They get too focused on working. They get home from work and they're buggered because their energy's no good, their health's no good, so they're tanking after work. They can't train. They don't have the motivation to train or eat healthy. They want to just relax and pig out and be lazy. They don't want to play with the kids because they're tired and frustrated. They just want some space. And that, as a role model, is really disappointing, because these children are given this image of what it's like to be burnt out and basically struggling with your health as their father. Children deserve strong, humble, compassionate, healthy, vibrant, energetic fathers. And that's a massive development for the child in an emotional aspect. They get that masculine love. They get that strong base, that foundation in the family. And if you're not fulfilling that, then you're letting your family down. I'm not saying that you're doing wrong, because you're doing the things that you think you need to do to support them. You're focusing on work, and you need some space to chill out. But by investing in your health, you improve your whole world. And so in the last 2 years, I've got really clear on like, how can we simplify for dads to tick these boxes in a short amount of time that gives them the biggest return, the biggest yield of result. And I've figured out this model. It's a 90-day Hero Dad plan, and it ticks off the nutrition. First of all, we work on gut health, so we make sure they're not dealing with anything that's going to be inhibiting their growth and health. So parasites, overgrowth in fungal bacteria, gut issues, digestion, all of these mineral nutrient deficiencies. So the first month is focusing on improving the gut. And then we move into animal-based or carnivore nutrition, which is proven to have really fast and effective results on body composition and energy and mental health. And then the third month, we actually lead into an integrative philosophy where they start to learn more about the food system and how they can support themselves to be a healthy, strong man. That's like one part of the triangle, is like the nutrition part, because it's such a big part for men, the gut health and the nutrition. And it's so easy for dudes. Like, guys, it's so easy to get your health right when you're shown how to do it simply. It doesn't have to be complex with thousands of dollars of supplements and meal timings and counting calories. None of that bullshit. It's basically the caveman diet in the modern day. Then we move in basically to training, making sure you're ticking, first of all, your mobility. So you've got range of motion. You're not pain in your joints. You're not dealing with injuries and things that are holding you back from playing with the kids or working your best, or even making love to your partner. Sore back or dodgy knees trying to be intimate. So it's like all of these elements that come into, okay, now we need to train the body to be healthy and vital. So we're looking at mobility, and we're looking like a base level of resistance training so that you're improving muscle mass and stripping fat off the body. And we do this in under 30 minutes a day. So it's like not a big time investment, whether you're waking up early to bang out your 30 minutes before going to work, or you get home from work and you just do your 30 minutes in the backyard with the kids around or whatever. But it's all strength based. Then moving into more of like the behavioral and aspect and philosophy aspect to the program is we look at values. We look at your identity as a father, and we look at your choices that you're making, all the micro choices in the day that create the result that you're currently experiencing. And so this 3-pillar approach ticks off really simply nutrition, movement, and identity to become basically the hero dad that you want to be. The man who can be there, strong, stable in his emotions, but healthy and vital in his body, and then there for his partner and his kids in a compassionate and loving way, so that you really go about your life in the best way. And I know I've put 5 guys through this program already, and every single one of them has increased their income. They're all business owners, but they've all increased their income. They all improve the relationship with their partner. Their partners are starting to notice changes, and they're actually attracted to their man again. And then the kids are happier. The kids are more calm because dad's more calm. They're training, their strength's going up, the confidence is going through the roof. They're starting to see muscles pop. It's like this program in 90 days, you're going to get a life-changing transformation where you literally become a hero dad from where you were. And it's not about the comparison or the judgment of other dads. It's about you owning your hero's journey, you owning the challenges of where you're at, and then taking the call to find the ring. You go on that journey and find the elixir. So I'm very pumped on this, man, because I know as a passion, I've got a unique set of skills that, like you mentioned before, but now being a father, I can bring it all into one, and I can just unload and deliver that value to other dads. Be like, dads, life's extremely fucking simple when you make it that way. So let's instead of making our lives more stressful, let's make it more simple, and let's yield the results. So it's a very cool phase I'm entering, brother.
Yeah, it's such a, you kind of touched on there the hero's journey, and it's interesting because each person has their hero's journey at some point in life, and quite often a lot of people don't end up having that, or don't have it to a point until they're like in their late 60s, 70s, and they're trying to work out what the hell they're doing, and they go on like this kind of reclamation of who they are, because they've gone through the motions throughout life until they've gotten to that point of their retirement, and they're gone, what is my life? Like, I've just spent the last 40 years of my life doing something and being a parent. Whereas like you're talking about, like you've had your own journey with all of your stuff that you've been through, and I believe I've already had 2 or 3 heroes journeys to lead me to this point, and know like this laser focus on what I actually really want to do. And it's great, and I see the passion that you've got, because it's like men need that hero's journey. They need to have that hero's journey. They need to, because I feel we've been conditioned as this modern society as grind until you can get to your retirement age. And however you get there, just fucking get there so you can retire and be done with it all. Whereas like what you're doing is you're allowing men to actually enjoy life from work all the way through. And then just imagine like getting to that retirement age, being able to enjoy the last 40 years and not having to grind and having having all this, just dragging your knuckles into the house. So yeah, it's a very nice concept, great concept that you developed, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think the big part, tapping onto the end of that, is while it's amazing to think about that retirement age and enjoying yourself when you get to retirement, not having to work, you can set life up so you actually,
Mm,
it's way easier in the now. So while
mm,
you're young and healthy, you can enjoy the time with your kids, you can enjoy the time with your partner, you can not have to face every day battling poor health,
mm,
hoping that you get a breakthrough or something. You can create that now, but we have to give, fellas, you got to give you space to create the vision. And if you can create the vision in your head, if you can actually create an image of what you want, then you can reverse engineer it and put things into place to start taking action.
mm,
And you mentioned before around like, having to work a normal job while you're kind of exiting this, putting into action an exit strategy. It may have to be that you do an hour extra a day, after the kids go to bed, or you work on a side hustle, or you work on your health when everyone goes to bed, or whatever. You may have to make that sacrifice and change some priorities in your life. But unless you prioritize something different, you won't change the results that you've currently got. And so for men, if they are, the first question is, what are you unsatisfied with? Because if you're not unhappy, if you're actually fully frothing on your position, don't even think about fucking changing. There's no point.
mm,
But if you take a moment to think about, what am I unsatisfied with? What would I change in an instant if I could? Get super clear on it, and then build a plan to basically alleviate or move through that phase and into a better reality. And it literally is about clarity, acceptance, and then a game plan, an action plan to act every day. And by chipping away at it, daily actions and changing that course, you'll shift the trajectory. One degree change over a year is 365 degrees, basically complete change in trajectory. So all we need is these little tune-ups, and across a year or a couple of years, you're going to be in a completely different frame of reference in life. So I think it's power, and that as a man in life, that is our skill set. That is our deep rooted core, is taking action and
mm,
leading. And if you can do that for your own family, it is extremely fulfilling.
absolutely, man. I see it in my own family, like just even being able to go and just even doing a workout and having both the boys now come in and they sit in, like River Frost is coming in and doing a workout with both of me and Emma, and actually asked to do family workouts and wants to be active and see, and you can see it in his eyes that that's you're the role model and you're the hero that he is modeling. And when you can show up as the hero because you're walking your walk and you're talking your talk, then the family unit just benefits like exponentially from it.
Mm.
Yeah. So how do people work with, like, how are you people, like, is it through a selection process that you're taking people on, or?
No, it's quite simply, if you're interested in achieving different results in your health, you literally have to just reach out to me, and we're going to have a chat first. I don't sell people. My goal is to not take money from people who are not ready for the result or not ready to invest in the result. I literally qualify people. Are you ready to do the work? What result are you interested in achieving? Like, where are you at in your health journey? Because I think it's really important to act out of compassion and empathy, and not sell people onto something. I have a lot of value to provide people, and if people want that value and it fits, we get started on a program, and it's very simple. It's a 90-day program. It's a video course. You work video course. It's all short, no long. It's all 3 to 5 minute long, so you can chip through this stuff. Driving to work, have it playing in the background, listening to what we're going to be focusing on in that month or that phase. And then each week we jump on a call, like all the lads jump on a group call, and I do interactive group coaching. So I'm walking through and troubleshooting with the fellas. And as I coach one guy, all the dads, get that same value provided. It's like this, you get this community of connection of like, oh shit, there's other dads struggling with energy as well. There's other dads struggling with frustration. There's other dads struggling with time management. There's other dads struggling with, weight issues, or even like, dopamine and porn and all this shit that is so current and so common in a dad's world, because you don't have your shit together. Let's come together and support each other. It's not that we're weak, it's that we're not supported. And so if we've got to support, you've got a group of brothers around you like, mate, you can do this. Let's go. It lifts you up to be a part of those groups. It makes you realize that you're not alone, that your family is such a big, valuable thing that you've got in your life, and you can work a way to improve that whole experience. And it's cool, man. It's cool to connect with other dads. I do it every single day, and I'm young in my journey. I'm only 2 years into being a father, so I've got the world ahead of me, and lots of questions to ask guys who have teenagers, and ask fathers who have grown-up kids and 10-year-olds. And I'm a student to this game as well. And so where I can provide value, I can also receive value, because I'm constantly learning, brother. So I think it becomes more of that tribe aspect of where, you join a brotherhood and you feel like you're actually in a network of people who care about giving the best for themselves and their family. And so that's a powerful movement in of itself. So yeah, man, if anyone is interested, if you're feeling like, I really need to work on myself, or you need to work on yourself, like, it's a perfect opportunity. It's not for everyone, but yeah, if it's right, I'd love to show you what I know, because one of my favorite things is getting dads lean, jacked, and healthy again, and having their testosterone going through the roof, and they're like, mate, I'm a completely different dad. I'm a completely different man. My wife's attracted to me again. We're having better conversations. We're closer. The kids are playing. I've got more energy. I can see muscles. I'm more confident. I'm getting more work. I'm landing bigger jobs. All this kind of stuff happens because your energy increases. You're on a different level. So yeah, man, it's cool. It's pretty epic.
It's interesting you kind of touch on there as well, like if a couple of times with the partner, and like sex with the partner, just even connection with your partner. Most of my work that I've been doing recently is a lot with women, and who have had unsupportive partners, or the partners haven't been on the same path because they're actually wanting to do fitness, health, business related stuff, and the partner has kind of been stuck in his way of just doing it and just grinding. And then eventually either the relationship is broken down, or there is like a real friction point there. They're falling out of sexual attraction with them. And I think as you go further along down the road of your relationship, there is that kind of risk that becomes involved with the whole thing, as like the complacency comes in, because like you've been with this person for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and as complacency, that person's just that person. And especially once you've had a kid. And Emma and I hear a lot with people, it's just the phase we're in at the moment. It's the season that we're in at the moment and once the kids have left home, we'll reconnect as parents, or we'll reconnect with ourselves, and all will be fine. It won't. Like the amount of people that I've taught and seen along their entire journey, like we used to run retreats before COVID and stuff happened, and the number of people that would come on retreats to find themselves again because they'd spent so much time giving themselves to their family and to everything and their work, that they've come on retreat and they've gone, like, I don't know who I am. Like, what am I doing here? And the work that you're doing, the work that I'm doing, is allowing people to continue to stay in who they are and show up as their best self, rather than just somebody showing up day to day. And yeah, I'm interested to, like, just coming back and circling back to that original part of my statement is like, do you see with the men and stuff that you're working with, like that kind of relationship grinding kind of thing is kind of almost a friction point that's pressing someone in the right direction? Because I found like a lot of women will come to me to help their men. So like the woman's kind of almost initiating the work that needs to be done, or wanting him to do work. Is that something you've found yourself?
I have had a lot of women reach out and say this would be perfect for my husband. He needs support. Uh, but to bring it back to the man's to ownership, extreme ownership, you've got to accept where you're at. You know, you're in a relationship, and it's your responsibility. The best thing I can do for my partner is be my best. The best thing she can do for our relationship is be her best. But that's not my responsibility. Her best is not my responsibility. My responsibility is to turn up as my best. And so as a man, it's easy to point out the flaws, or as a human, it's easy to point out the flaws in the others and get tit for tat. And yeah, but you're not, yeah, but fuck that. Fuck that, brother. You got to swallow your ego, and you've got to go, you know what? I'm going to take a fucking lead here. Am I at my best? And if you're not in all four areas, you know, mental, physical, emotional, and even your energy, you know, spiritual, how you're turning up each day. If you're not your best, it's you that needs to do the work. It's no one else. And so when you accept that deeply and go like, okay, maybe I need to work on my mental health a bit. I got to get into a routine, and I've got to clean myself up a bit. Or maybe I let my gut go. I've got a bit, you know, flabby, and I'm not really proud of my body. Like, get your physique in order. No one is ever in a worse position by being fitter, healthier, happier. So by taking that call and going, I'm going to take responsibility here. I'm going to become my best. You will lead others naturally. It's a ripple effect. You know, your kids will start noticing. Your kids know. Your kids can see that transformation. They fully sense it, whether you tell them or not. If you are a picture of health, your children see what health is. If you're a picture of poor health, of anger, frustration, shitty food, junk food, that's the picture. That's what they represent, you know, and they will turn into it. It's called a mirror neuron. Our brain's literally designed to copy our environment. It's how we've learned to survive. So if you want to be the best father for your kids and put them in the best position, don't tell them what to do. Don't tell them that eating healthy is good. Show them. Just eat clean food and train, become strong. You know, show them the example, and then you don't actually have to say basically anything. Your example leads the way. So I think it's always about extreme ownership and bringing it back to you. Yes, other people have their choices and their habits and their results, but just drop it, forget about it until you've got yourself dialed in. You know, that's where you need to focus.
Yeah, absolutely. Extreme ownership's a big one. I like personal responsibility, and like, I'm guessing you've read Jocko's book, Jocko Willink's book. Yeah, and that's like one book like most dudes should read if they haven't. And it's just that it's personal, or most people in general, but like we're talking about guys right now, it's like, but extreme ownership and responsibility. Like, as a society, we've become so conditioned to like push responsibility onto someone else rather than ourselves. And yeah, as a dad, you can't be pushing that responsibility onto the kids to be an adult, because you're the adult. You chose to put your dick in someone, and that's the responsibility that you've chosen, and you then have to step up to the plate as a man. Because like, if you're not going to step up as a man, then your entire role, your entire being in this lifetime right now is not doing much. And I found, like, with my work with like men's mental health and stuff like that, obviously like we do get like kind of that way of kind of going down a little bit more of a kind of the softer route, because obviously you don't want to upset men and push them, because I've been suicidal, you know, but I think back to it, even when I was in my deepest state, I actually needed almost a bit of tough love. Like, come on, snap yourself out of it, fucking get yourself back on track and do it, rather than trying to just kind of mamby-pamby around it. Is actually, come on, guys, like if you're suffering right now, or if you're going through it, like you said, is having that check-in and go, what is not sitting right with me right now? Mental health. All right, how am I going to take these steps? We've got two guys sitting here talking about it right now who can actually help you straight away. And these things, you start to take these little steps. And yeah, as a man, leading others, because you are leading others when you have a child, it's your utmost responsibility to show up in that way, and like you said, optimally. Like, and yeah, just even just seeing the way you show up with Indy and your and Nick, and it's admirable in the way it happens, and you see the byproduct of it is what a happy and healthy and enjoyable kid that kid is to be around, because there is that stability in his life. So yeah, take my hat off to you there, mate.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate it, and thanks for the epic feedback. I do appreciate it, and I just need to say, I'm no guru. I'm not perfect. I still get angry. I still get frustrated. I still deal with that shit myself. You know, I did a lot of work, and I had to own a lot of shit and move through a lot of challenges that I had deep rooted in my mental health and my emotions, and I was fragile, man. I was a mess. But I owned it. I took responsibility and I did the work to learn more about myself, and I understood where all that shit was coming from, and I started rebuilding myself from the ground up. And every man has that opportunity. I'm no different to any man that's listening. I'm no different to any human being. I've got my own shit. I've just decided to work through it, and I got into great environments with great knowledge and great support, and it showed me a different pathway of how to live life. And I'm always blessed, always thankful. I've got to shout out Keegs for the incredible work that he's done for me. Keegan Smith, he's been my longest and most influential mentor in life. 7 years now I've been working with him, and I know you've just jumped on in the last year, and that community of men changes your paradigm, changes the way you think, you know. And I think it's important to be in these groups. I'm always challenging myself. I'm now in a group, you know, that is 10 steps ahead of me, and it's challenging me the way I'm thinking and where I'm at in life. But that's what I need. I need to continue to be pushed and to be the smallest in the room so that I can start, you know, elevating myself. And I think it's important for men to swallow the ego, accept where they're at, and be really clear on where they want to get to, and then put yourselves in the environment that will just naturally encourage and really inspire you to make those moves, make those actions, and create new results. So I think it's brother, it's a beautiful journey. It's been one that has taught me so much about life, so much more than I thought I'd ever understand. And I'm truly excited for life. I wake up ecstatic and energetic to live another day on earth, and I feel blessed for that reason alone, that life is now positive versus a different phase of my life where I was suicidal and caught on drugs and drinking and rooting everything that was moving, and basically running around with like a headless chook. Whereas now I'm stable, strong, and happy. It's an incredible contrast. So always fortunate to connect with men like yourself, brother. I appreciate you having the platform, you know, chance to speak and share our philosophies and life perspectives. It's, man, being connected with good men is a very powerful tool for other men.
Absolutely, man. I agree. And I couldn't have said it better myself. And I just want to kind of begin to wrap it there, because yeah, that was a nice way to kind of curl up that in, or wrap it up, that entire conversation that we've had there. And just so anybody listening, if they're interested in either the program that you've got going on, or wanting to get in contact or anything like that, you know, how can they do that?
Just get on Instagram, start following me. Conscious Carnivore 1.0, I provide a heap of value there, heap of entertainment as well. Try to keep it pretty lighthearted and fun at the same time. It's not all serious work. And then just shoot me a message if you're struggling, if you want to have a chat to someone. You know, I'm happy to. I do free calls as well. So if you just like want to jump on the phone for 10 minutes, you know, hit me up. I'm happy to help. I want to help as much as I can. So if you're not on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook as well, Jordan Potts, and I'm sure you'll have links in the show notes or whatever the description. So yeah, man. Look, at the end of the day, we all have the opportunity to reflect and think about what we want to change, and I think that's the biggest inspirational point that I can put forward is like, get super clear on what you would like your life to look like. And if you can get that clear image and you can access resources and support, then you can create. It's within you. It's always within you, and you just got to take action on that vision. So yeah, man, it's powerful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, everyone, I urge you to get in contact with Jordan. He is a wonderful dude to work with if you have that opportunity. So thanks, Jordan. Thank you for coming on.
Epic, brother. Thank you, man.
Well, I hope you enjoyed everything on today's episode. If you would like to catch up with Jordan, I will put all the links to his offerings in the show notes. And until next time, my friends, see you later.